Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with a blog to watch. Today I'm going to review the Citizen Promaster Dive Automatic. There are other watches with that exact same name or something close to that, so there are some nicknames for this watch. The Fujitsubo diver, and this is these are all super titanium, and this is the dark colored one. This is the DLC coded version on a bracelet. This is the reference NB6025-59H. So we'll just call it the Moody Fujitsubo. That is Japanese for barnacle, and that is an interesting part of the story of this collection. And it goes back to the mid-1970s, where Citizen originally released a dive watch, ostensibly in this style. And one in apparently 1977 or so was lost, and about 6 years later was found on the shore of Eastern Australia. It washed up on shore, and the watch still worked, but it was covered, especially the strap, with barnacles. And that's a cool story for a company to have your product lost at sea and then found again with the movement still working. And so Citizen thought that was a good story and an appropriate basis to relaunch a watch. You know, this is their, I guess you could say, their vintage re-release or one of them. You know, Seiko, also a Japanese company, has really done a lot more vintage re-releases than Citizen. Citizen isn't huge on sort of, you know, doing that copycat thing, but there's something to it, and they felt like they should come out with sort of a vintage re-release. So that is ostensibly the story behind this generation of the Promaster Dive Automatic. As I said before, all versions of this watch are built out of Citizen's super titanium material. That includes the case and bracelet, and these are DLC coated. What is super titanium? It is a series of special coatings on top of natural titanium, which strengthens it and gives it much more scratch resistance. Here you have the DLC on top of it, which creates even more scratch resistance, because while titanium is tough and wonderfully lightweight, it is relatively scratch prone, and you don't necessarily want that in your high-end timepiece, those scratches. This watch is 42 millimeters wide. It is a 200-meter diving style watch, and everything about it is pretty durable, I guess you could say, save for the bezel insert material, which is that traditional aluminum. Great action, by the way, on turning that unidirectional bezel. But it is easy to say that, you know, maybe Citizen should have, you know, maybe done ceramic or some other type of material. You know, honestly, their type of aluminum tends to be pretty durable compared to some others. So this does have their, you know, their fancy IP coating on there to make it really scratch resistant. But just saying that that was something that some of the enthusiasts and fans were calling out, and I agree. The sapphire crystal here, you can see, has an interesting shape. It is box style, but it doesn't raise up there. And so what Citizen did a long time ago in order to protect the crystal is they made the bezel pretty high, but the crystal still sinks down. So there is a trench, if you will, around the crystal. You know, you can stick your finger in there, and it makes sort of an interesting optical effect, so to say, for the dial there. At the time, dials like this were pretty standard. You see the Submariner style hands, which Citizen had since after that designed their own, and which carries into their design language today. But at the time, this was very popular and still is today. Super legible. This is one of the rare, I'll call it black on black designs. You know, in car culture, a lot of fashion culture, it's hot now to have sort of this stealthy branding. And so you can see there that the Citizen branding and all of that is black on black. And so in a lot of ways, this looks like a sterile dial, which is unique, or not, well, not totally unique, but rare for watches in general, especially amongst Japanese watches, where, you know, they're not really used to not showing off the name of the brand. Other versions of the Fujitsubo have a more standard dial where you can, you know, see the logo in white, but this particular Moody version that was really nice just has that. I think that's unique. I'm going to put the watch on in a minute and talk about the movement, but I want to talk about the clasp for a second here. Again, super titanium, nicely made, and we have here a micro adjust. It's not so micro, actually. It goes out that much, and it's enough to put over a wetsuit. but you can ratchet it in to a much smaller size if you want that adjustment. So I thought that was a great feature. Not a lot of Citizen watches have had that to this point, and that's really great to have in there. And it's a nice durable one. It doesn't look beautiful if it's open. Sometimes it's one of those days where you want to open it up a little bit, maybe that. If it's a hot day and your wrist is expanded. And so that's a great feature to have. Relatively simple titanium case back, but fine. It doesn't bother me at all. Inside of this watch is one of the newer generation of the in-house made Citizen movements. It's the caliber 9051. That's part of the 9000 series. This is a mid-range, you could say, automatic movement, 4 Hertz, 2 days of power reserve, decent anti-magnetic resistance. There's going to be some fancier versions that are a little bit more accurate, but that's just because Citizen wanted to save some of their more precision-made, if you can say, movements for higher-end watches that really go into the thousands. This is a very decent movement for this price point, and gives you a lot of bang for your buck. The 9000 series has been excellent. A lot of people have liked it. Time and date, nothing too fancy, but a great automatic workhorse in here. 42 millimeters on the wrist. You know, not super thick at all. I think it's about 12 millimeters. Very comfortable. I mean, really, really comfortable. Citizen also sells the Promaster Dive Automatic in versions on the strap. As I said, there's a natural titanium model with a black dial that's similar to this, but with white text, and then there's also a blue dial. Probably more will come in the future. Such an easy watch to love and enjoy because it does a lot of things well. It's comfortable, well made, not particularly too expensive, and has that classic tool watch style, that timeless, you know, dive watch look that really never goes out of style, and is a little bit more, as I said, vintage, of course, than many of Citizen's more modern looking divers. So again, this is the Citizen Promaster Dive Automatic Fujitsubo. This particular version with the DLC case and bracelet in super titanium costs $1,195, and you can see the full review on a Blog to Watch. Thanks.